Hey, my name is Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on fancy equipment for training, and most of us don't even have gym memberships. In fact, our motivation comes from within. You see, we have jobs, families, and responsibilities, but we still have big goals, and they aren't getting achieved at a global gym. For that reason, we have to do things differently. Our training has to be smarter. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man or a ton of time to train, and we don't need it, because we are achieving amazing things without it. So how do we do it? If you ask your average personal trainer or gym goer, they'd call us crazy. Yet we're seeing results better than most every single day. And it's happening by blending mental training with physical training and becoming an athlete. What we call and welcome to Garage Gym Athlete.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Garage Gym Mathlete. Sorry, it's a bad,
didn't nail it.
bad joke. Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Back again.
How you doing?
Cool.
You doing cool?
I'm doing cool. I'm just cool. It's rest day. Feels good. Having my bulletproof coffee.
Are you gonna rest though, or are you gonna do something?
I want to do something active rest.
Yeah, I was thinking about hopping on the bike for like 20 minutes or something, but we'll see.
I might go out and get some sunshine and leave the house for once.
Yeah, these desk jobs that we have in the fitness industry, right? It's, it can be tough. No, just messing around. Let's talk in frequently asked questions today. We're going to get into those. We have a lot of different ones. Joe has 3, I have 3, and these will really help you understand, I think, training as a garage gym athlete in general a little bit better, because we're talking about things like benchmark testing, and we're also going to be talking about things like mobility. So whether you're our athlete or not, I think it'd be beneficial for you to listen to this entire episode. But we are going to talk real fast about personal records.
Yeah, so just like we've been doing all season, Kirk Sowers, he hit a 20-pound deadlift PR.
What's up?
Jacob Thompson hit another also 20-pound deadlift PR. But this is the first one that we've done this time. Adam Hilliard improved his 2K row by 7 seconds, which if you've done 2K row, 7 seconds is, to me, a major win.
That's a huge thing, yeah.
There's not a whole lot of come up this time, but it's because it's been an abbreviated fit week. But we still do hit those conditioning and speed benchmarks. The last time we had a 2-week fit week, we tested all of these with miles, and a lot of people we're hitting those. So I just want to highlight and make sure that we're not just clanging and banging here. We're getting faster too. Yeah,
and that's kind of it's a logistical issue in our programming, our community. So you get the PR shirt that Joe is wearing earlier in the season. If you want to watch us on the YouTube channel, you can find the PR shirt on garagegymathlete.com too. Not for purchase, but you could see a picture of it at least. So if you post a video of you hitting a PR in the group using our programming, we send you the PR shirt. It's a really cool thing that we do in the community. Gets a lot of people excited. Really, just the sharing part. I love for people to post for multiple reasons. One, you're not going to post like a substandard squat PR, like some questionable depth. Like some people might, but you're most likely, if thousands of other people are going to see this video, you're going to try and do the best possible form that you have. So you're not going to submit any trash. And 2, just everyone posting all these PRs, it gets me fired up. It gets the community fired up. It's a really cool thing that we do. But having said that, it's a little bit harder to do a video of your 2,000 meter row, or your 1.5 mile run, or your EO3 5K, which can take like 40 minutes. These videos are a little bit more challenging for people to do, but possible. First person who does it, maybe I'll send like the PR plaque. Maybe that's the next.
Yeah. I just don't want my 2K row face on the internet.
Yeah, that's actually, I've never filmed it either, so I'm just as big at fault as I don't know if I want people to see
the pain.
Yeah, it's bad. 2,000 meter row is bad. But, this is a nice segue into one of our first frequently asked questions, is talking about the fit test and different benchmarks that we have at Garage Gym Athlete. And I also think this is good whether you're our athlete or not. I personally recommend, if you are a Garage Gym Athlete, that means most of the time you are a solo athlete. You are training by yourself. Maybe you have a friend or whatever, but no one's really holding you to any standard other than yourself. So I feel like you should set some standards for yourself and keep and hold to those standards. And that's what we have inside of our community. And we have two different ways that we kind of do this. One we call Fit Week, which is actually 2 weeks. And I don't know why I did that, like how that ended up happening. Oh no. It was Fit Week because we used to do all the benchmarks in 1 week when I used to test them, but it was way too much. You're hitting too many benchmarks each day. By day 3, you were like, how am I supposed to PR anything? This is not possible. So I stretched it over 2 weeks, but left the name at Fit Week. So we test your overall work time. We don't normally test that much. I recommend people test it on their own. And we have competitor, established, and recruit levels. So how long can you just go for a walk? How long can you do yard work? How long can you go for a hike? Is it 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, so on and so forth. And then we have deadlift, back squat, front squat, press, clean, snatch, jerk. And all of those are some sort of variation of some multiple of your body weight. Put you in either our competitor, established, or recruit. And just recently, last cycle, we updated it based off of data by age and sex, so age and gender. So we actually gave a little bit more leeway for people to hit these competitor, established, and recruit levels because, for instance, like the 1.5 mile run competitor level is 9 minutes and 10 seconds or less. That is a tall order for any human being. And so we actually, we gave a little bit of age and gender difference there for people as opposed to being real archaic about it. Then we also test the EO3 5K, which you can Google that if you're unfamiliar with the workout. Strict pull-ups, strict dips, 2,000 meter row, 1.5 mile run, 500 meter row, and 400 meter sprint. So that takes 2 weeks worth. Now the second type of testing we do is the EO3 Fit Test, and that is where we test the 3 main lifts, the squat, strict press, deadlift, and then I invented a kettlebell test that's supposed to test, and running, to test every energy system that you have. So glycolytic, creatine, phosphate, and aerobic. And I think it's a really good test. So far, the numbers and data have been on it real good. I'm not going to get into all the details of that entire test. You could actually Google the EO3 Fit Test. You'll find the entire test on YouTube. You could even create an account at End3 Fitness and get that entire fitness test and me on video walking you through the test in my former backyard. So you can actually check all that stuff out if you wanted to. But the main thing I wanted to get is get across is holding yourself to a standard, because we get a lot of questions about, when to test, how should I test, where should I be? And so we have the standards on where you should be. We don't think that everyone needs to be shooting for a competitor, but it's there. I think most people should be shooting to get to established in all areas and stay there. That's my real goal for most people. Competitors, very difficult to do. And holding yourself to a standard if you are a garage gym athlete, because if you're going to be training in your garage for the next 5-10 years and you have no standard, your standard is going to end up being low, because you're just going to be working on the things that you want to work on. You're not going to keep track of the other things that you don't really want to work on, and your fitness is going to get all sorts of out of whack. You'll probably give up on being a garage gym athlete. I'll buy your weights on Craigslist. My other athletes will buy your Airdyne, your rower, so on and so forth. Like, that's how it's going to happen if you don't hold yourself to a standard. So that's question number one. Hold yourself to a standard. We have one if you want to really push yourself.
Nice.
Now you.
All right. So a lot of people think, garage gym athlete, but I can't do that because I don't have a garage. Well, not everybody has a garage. We had, forgot, he was on the podcast before, but he had a barn. Some people have a barn or a shed, or even if you're going to a Globo gym, there's ways around that. I think Susan works at a Planet Fitness, and she can get hers done there. We have
which Planet Fitness is like the most
strict,
like anti-garage gym athlete mentality thing possible, but you can still get all the training done there.
Yeah, just don't set off the lunk alarm, but still try hard.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There are things about
you
don't
can
try
hard in silence.
I guess so. And then I think Josh Franz, he's one of our coaches. He works out at his college gym, and I think he's training some people there. So there's ways around it, and it's we've talked about it before, is adopting the garage gym athlete mentality. It's more of just, take what you got and make things work. Get creative here and there where you can. Maybe prioritize how you do things, how you set stuff up. Ashley, she does it at a military gym, and I've had to do that a few times at a military gym. You got to get creative sometimes because, the rowers are down the hall in another room of squat racks. Right. So you have to, if there's ever the interval weight training, you have to do your sets and then run over to the rower and then do that real quick and then set your rest time. And you just got to get creative and it takes a little bit of planning, but it's still very, very doable for anybody without a gym or a garage.
Yeah, and that's what, whenever I get the question about the Globo Gym thing, like if you're exercising at a Globo Gym trying to do our programming, like other than what Joe's saying, like logistically, like, okay, the rowers are here, my barbell's here, like you have everything. A Globo Gym is missing nothing. So there's no reason you can't get it done. It just might not be the perfect, really just like geographical setup. But that's probably your only issue that you're going to run into, other than, you know, kids doing curls in the squat racks, from what I hear.
Yeah, I don't even have a garage gym. I have a back patio gym, and I haven't even been using that for a year yet. But still got things done.
Yeah, that's what so my last house in Texas was just, I had a garage gym technically, but I just worked out because I had that rack, that monster rig or whatever.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, man, it's not bringing it up.
Those are the days.
Yeah, it's all gone now. But yeah, that backyard setup was awesome, and that's how I exercised when I was in the military, active duty. They had all those open door gyms at Hurlburt Field. Like they're just these like platforms that they put something over, and that was like became my favorite way to work out. But you can really get our training done just about anywhere by adopting that mentality. All right, next I want to talk about training between cycles. I get this question a lot, like our athletes specifically ask like when should they switch tracks, you know, and also any garage gym athletes in general listening to this, kind of talking about, you know, I talked about first holding yourself to a standard, and then next looking at your training in this bigger picture wave. Now, a lot of people, you know, I understand you want to give something a 4 to 6 week try, see if it's for you. That's great. But after you graduate past that and you get a little bit more serious about your fitness and you start looking at, okay, what can I do over the next 5 years, 3 years, something like that, you really need to start taking things into account like your central nervous system. Lifting heavy all the time to try and get stronger is not going to work. The people who are typically, and I'd say like average level strength people aren't actually getting really like elite level strong. What happens is they are on a strength program for a while, life gets busy, work, promotion, kid, whatever, then they get weaker, and then they get back on a strength program, they get stronger, and it's just kind of this roller coaster ride. But if you're just actually, say you're not in that, and you actually are just progressing over and over again, your central nervous system is going to take a whack, either from high intensity training or from high intensity lifting. And when I say high intensity lifting, I mean just like going 80, 90% efforts. You need a break from that occasionally. So, and it could be more than a year before that actually happens. It's not like something you need to worry about, super frequently, but you're going to need to take a break from it. I think from a mental standpoint and central nervous system standpoint, taking a break from that stuff, even if it's a short one, like do a 4-week cycle of just body weight or something. Like I can't even believe like I came off no gear track. You know, we kind of talked about this. I did no gear track for like 4 to 6 weeks. I think it's closer to 6 weeks, and got off cycle. Starting this cycle off, like I just feel so good. Like, you know, from having the break from the barbell, I thought I was going to be a lot weaker. I matched basically all of my barbell PRs. I still maxed out the EO3 fitness test, which I was not expecting. Like a lot of just things that I thought, not because like no gear programming is bad, it's just because you haven't been lifting with a barbell. You don't expect to get under a barbell from a 6-week break to hit your same PR that you hit the last 12-week cycle. So it's good to take those breaks every once in a while, and I feel, you know, like I said, mentally refreshed, like I'm just ready to attack it and not miss any workouts. So it's good to take those breaks from time to time.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'll oftentimes skip fit week. This past fit week, I skipped all but the strict press, just because I've been squatting so much, and I don't always, which we'll go into later, but I don't always go for a 1 rep max. Sometimes just work up too heavy, and that's fine. You know, I don't always have to try and match yourself. You just
well, it's because where does that end, right? Like if you're like, no, I'm pretty sold on doing this training for the next 5 years or however long it is, then like, are you going to PR every 12 weeks for 5 or 10 years?
Yeah.
Probably not. You know, it's probably going to get difficult at some point. So you either need to find new things to get excited about, like, okay, I want to PR all my body weight metrics this cycle, you know, and keep my squat the same. Like there's always some like different goal you can have within following programming.
Yeah. So I want to get into a little bit with mobility. we get a lot of people that start off and they're excited about the training, they're doing it, but they're realizing they have certain limitations. Some people have overhead limitations, a lot of shoulder stuff. Others are the front rack, so they can't hold the front rack for the front squat, so it's hurting their wrists. So with mobility, it's definitely a long process to do that with.
Very long.
And yeah, and if it's the big movements that you're having a hard time with, you might have to scale back to doing, one arm things or something. So like if it's the barbell press going overhead, then just do that with a kettlebell. With the front squats, there are some that like to cross their arms, but I don't know how you feel about the cross arms in the front, but I don't particularly like the cross arms in the front for the front squat because I feel like you're already half
this, like
yeah.
Yeah.
You're already like half hunched and rolled over, and you're losing a lot of your core stability because like when you're jutting your elbows out, your lats are already engaged. Everything is a lot tighter to me.
And I feel like no, I don't like that because I think tension is very important in lifting. However, you're applying that tension, and when you do this, you've lost a lot of tension in your arms, and it's not that your arms are necessarily helping you on the front squat, but the relief in the tension by crossing your arms in the front squat means you're probably relieving tension somewhere else. Maybe it's in your obliques or abdominals or something, but you're just when you're trying to be tight, you don't want to loosen something else up, basically.
Yeah, I mean some of my best front squat days that I feel, it's not all legs. I feel my mid and upper back are sore the next day because I front squatted, and it's a great feeling. But with the mobility, you just got to slowly chip away at it. So we've been programming some mobility exercises in there. I always recommend when people have a certain issue, just get on YouTube, search mobility WOD, and then whatever area it is, whether it's the front rack, whether it's the hips, you can put in an exercise, you can put in a body part, and they've probably made a video or somebody has.
Let me test something while you're talking about it. Go ahead, keep going.
And if you just got to do that before you do the exercise, work that in. But also something that a lot of people don't do is they do plenty of mobility. I mean, this is my thing that I had to learn myself. I would do 10 minutes of mobility, which is almost too much, and then I'd go into a lift and nothing was helping. And I had a coach that was like, no, you got to dial back the mobility and do stability. So do your lat stretches, your tricep smashes, and then go hold a kettlebell over your head for a minute and then switch. And so once you open up your body to those new ranges, you have to strengthen those new ranges. So those have to go hand in hand, which a lot of people don't really realize.
Yeah. And what I was just typing on my keyboard, checking out real fast while Joe was talking about that was you could go to the End of 3 Fitness YouTube channel and you could look at our playlist, and we have about 200 videos from Mobility WOD in the playlist format, following him in order from the original mobility. Like he used to do one per day for like a year, I think he did. And I stopped at making 200 because I think at that time YouTube wouldn't let me go above that when I made it. So, and you can also type in your URL, your browser, eo3, the number, .fit/mobility playlist. So eo3.fit/mobility playlist, and you will get our entire mobility playlist of 200 videos. And I do recommend normally people, like, you can target, like Joe's saying, but if you're just looking to do something on a daily basis that doesn't cost you anything extra, like there are some great companies out there like ROMWOD, huge fan of ROMWOD, but maybe you don't want to add that $14 a month to your budget or something right now, go do the playlist I just, we made for you for 200 days and see how you feel at the end of that. You'll be very greatly improved, I guarantee it.
Yeah, and it's come up with people in the group for pains while running. Like if a lot of people have pains while running, you could have, I know I have tendonitis in my Achilles. I have to smash my Achilles before any long run days or fast run days if I actually want to try hard, so some people could have calf issues, which could be making their feet do weird things and causing planters, any of those things.
Yeah, and I get questions a lot about shin splints.
Yeah, I've never had shin splints.
And this would be, I guess I'll just talk about it briefly. This would be my third question before we hop into your last one, because I was going to talk about the levels, but I kind of already talked about it in the testing. But you just kind of reminded me because I've gotten, I think, 3 emails in the last week about shin splints, and I answered them specifically because I've dealt with shin splints. And so shin splints, I had them. I ran track in high school pretty seriously and got a lot of shin splints. And then moving into college, I started ROTC in college, and I was just doing a ton of running and got really bad shin splints. And I knew some guys on the track team at Texas Tech, and one of them was like a cross-country runner who was also in ROTC, and he was just like a beast, like because the Air Force has always tested for the last known history the 1.5 mile run, and he was running the 1.5 mile run in the sevens. He's just like just stupid fast, like faster than most people could run a mile. And he used to have shin splints, and he told me how to get rid of it. And I kind of thought it was silly at the time because I wasn't into any of this like stuff. But he told me to start doing some like 400 and 800 meter jogs in a field barefoot. So he's basically telling me to do a lot of barefoot running. And then he's also had me do 400 and 800 meter runs on the track barefoot backwards. So not going for time or anything, but just running backwards. And to be honest, I'd already been into fitness for a while, and when he had me doing a bunch of weird stuff like this at that time, I was like, this is some silly stuff. But guess what? After about 8 weeks of working with him, shin splints gone. I have never had shin splints again a day in my life. As someone who had shin splints, like some people think I'm the type of person who gets shin splints, so I always, no.
Yeah.
You're just not trying hard enough. There's no type of person. That's another thing I could just go on a rabbit hole. Like, you don't have a back problem. You have a problem of not trying to make your back better. That's the problem you really have. But that's the same with shin splints. Like, you can make these things better. Now, what I gave you is not an exact protocol, but some things that you want to look into if you suffer from shin splints. And another reason I bring it up is because a lot of our athletes, we have a ton of conditioning, and sometimes it's just straight interval training. And if you don't have an airdyne and you don't have a rower, you're running. And you're doing a lot of running. And so shin splints can come up. If you're pounding out on concrete and you're a big heel striker and you're just not don't have your running form down, shin splints will come, and they suck. I've had them. They really do suck. But yeah, you can make them better. Work on them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we try and provide substitutes, but sometimes the running's the best thing to do for it. You're not going to get the full benefit if you're always hurt as well.
Yeah, jump rope. I really like jump rope, but your calves will not like it as much over longer periods.
That hurts my Achilles even more. I mean, I'm still really good at double unders, but I can definitely feel it.
Yeah, and anytime we have a lot of double unders, my calves are normally sore the next day.
All right, so getting into my last one, we have our recovery game. For the longest time, we were having people, having a hard time recover. They're either always sore, or we wanted to give people the best way to maximize the training. And so now we have the recovery game that's posted every day. And basically the game is we list out several different ways that you can recover.
I'm going to bring it up on my phone.
There we go. Several different ways that you can recover. And what you're supposed to do is hit about at least 5 of those points. Now, they're like certain supplements. So I think you can get at least 2 points for supplements, whether it's creatine or protein or turmeric or something like that. And then there's mobility wad, ROM wad, extra mobility. That really, really helps and is good for your recovery. There's
you want me to read them off?
Just eating healthy. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so we could talk about them. But so like Joe said, scoring 5 points is the goal. First category on here is, did you get 7+ hours of sleep last night? You only get a point if it's 7 hours or more. Did you consume 50 to 60% of your body weight in ounces of water? So hydration. Did you eat 2 or more healthy meals, like Joe just said? And you get half a point per healthy meal. Up to, I think, you can only score 1 point. So you can eat 2 healthy meals. Did you take 2, and that's the maximum we recommend, it's 2 supplements that will aid in your recovery, because we don't want people to just be like, you know what, I don't sleep well, I don't eat well, I don't hydrate well, I'm just going to take 10 supplements. So that's why I set the max at 2. And things we recommend: turmeric, magnesium, vitamin C, things like that. Did you complete both a warm-up and cool-down? Most of the time we have the warm-up programmed. We don't normally program the cool-down other than some sort of mobility, but also, like, if you were to cool down like with a 10-minute row, after an intense session, that's really great too. And then, did you do any additional light aerobic work? So 10 plus minutes, walking the dog, like jog, etc. And then there's wild card recovery. Did you do any activities specifically geared towards recovery today? Mobility work, ROMWOD, cryotherapy, cold thermogenesis, contrast showers, massage, cryo chamber, acupuncture, any of those other things that do help with recovery, red light therapy, things like that, that you could get a point for that you did specifically to try and recover. So those are all the different points.
Yeah. So just 5 points for regular training day. We try for 7 on Meet Yourself Saturdays because they're much more intense. You're going to need some more recovery. I know my last Smurf, I needed a couple of days and a lot of good recovery for that. So it's just, it's not always about, and we went over this with mindset training, is that it's not just the training that was going to make you better. Mindset's going to make you better, but also recovery is the same thing. So it's not just the 1 hour training sessions. You got to look at every single aspect to get the most out of your training, or else you might still make a little bit of progress, but just think of all the more progress you can make.
Yeah, and that's what I wrote the Recovery Game article, and then we also did a Recovery Game webinar to talk about just recovery. And one thing I like to point out to people is that, the running faucet idea is like you are a full tank, and the only way to fill that tank is through recovery activities, like I just talked about. That's how you fill up your tank. And the way you empty your tank is going to be things like stress, whether that's stress at work or just stressing your body. And guess what stressing your body is? Training. So if you train, that takes points away from you, right? Like you need to put water back in the tank after you train, even though it's good for you. Having unhealthy meals, all these things empty your tank, and you need to fill them back up. And one thing that people often overlook is the fact that training is a stressor. It is something that you need to recover from. It suppresses the immune system. It puts you in a different state. It's not like, other than the mental high you get from endorphins or whatever, like let's say it's bad for you. It's it is in the short term bad for you. Like, because, of some of the things that it does, breaking down muscle, like breaking them apart and suppressing the immune system. These things are not good things. If I were to just take an alien and bring him to our planet and talk about what happens after you exercise, he'd be like, okay, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. But over the long term, we all know that exercise makes you better. So just be doing things to actually recover from this metabolically violent activity you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, another great podcast that we can refer you to for better humanology is one of our favorite guests, Allison Breger. She not only is a sleep specialist, which you guys got into in the first episode, but the second one, since then, she is now working with the Army and working on how their training and their recovery and the stress that they go through. So she's a great one to check out.
Yeah, that was a great episode. Real eye opener, like shift
alcohol
shift
and
work.
testosterone and shift work.
Like shift work is just awful. Like, I'm sorry if you work shift work, and I'm not saying it's awful because I have any opinions of it, but like, she's doing research-based study on shift work because a lot of military works in shifts, and it's like really bad for you. Like, it's starting to be, I think they're starting to actually label it as a carcinogen. Like it's
a case 3 or class 3 or whatever.
Yeah, it's so bad for you because you're jacking up your circadian rhythm. You're not sleeping. It's just bad. It's just really bad. So, I mean, if you have a shift work job and that's what you have to do to support your family, do it, but do as much as you can to, I'd say, 1, mitigate those things, or 2, maybe even start looking for a new job if health is super important to you. But yeah.
Get your hormones tested regularly.
Yeah, you got to find out what's actually happening to you, because maybe some people are fine with it, And then, the alcohol thing. So our rule on alcohol is Allison's rule. That's the rule I recommend to all of our athletes, is like, you can drink if you want to, as long as it's not on a training day.
Yep.
And then I normally jokingly say you should train every day. But in all reality, just don't drink on a training day, because it's going to negate a lot of the good you did for yourself that day, and it jacks with your sleep. Like, if you're not tracking your sleep, I really encourage you to get some app or something that tracks your sleep, and track, like, on a Monday, like normal sleep, what that looks like. Have 3 glasses of wine, whatever you do on a Friday, and track your sleep that night. It takes seeing the data sometimes, because some people wake up and they're like, alcohol doesn't affect me. I'm fine. I feel good today. I'm not hungover. It's like, yeah, but like, your heart rate was jacked, elevated all night. Like, your heart rate variability is super low. It's just a real eye opener to kind of see how much alcohol can actually affect you.
Yeah, and if you're really want to get your game up there, then get a Whoop, because then it can really tell you. Because I can tell what I drink, depending on what I drink, my resting heart rate for the night is going to be 5 to 10 beats faster,
Yeah.
higher than it will be without alcohol.
Yeah, most of the time I'm ever in a red recovery is either really hard training day or I had some alcohol. Like, and that's on the Whoop specifically. Like, I have bad recovery is because I had, and it normally doesn't take much. I'm talking
Yeah.
like 2 beers, and for some reason my body revolts. But I think that's about it, man. That ends it for me. Any more for you?
No, I think we nailed a lot.
All right, cool. If you guys have any more questions, let us know. But that'll be it for this one.
Peace.
Peace.